you know. Okay, folks, we're ready to get started. Sorry that it's a late start. And thank you. I'll see what I can do to project my voice, but I appreciate your help. If you have phones or anything else that might vibrate or buzz or make a noise, please turn it off for the duration. If you have any papers to give us, they go to Commissioner Curran there at the corner. And we're going to begin with an invocation by the jail chaplain, Dave Spurlock, and then the pledge by Larry Money, who is also a Buchanan City Commissioner. If you wish to join us in either or both, please rise. Chaplain Dave.
Lord, may we know the presence of the Holy Spirit here with us today, and may we all be open to your leading, sensitive to your speaking, and alert to your calling. Father, we invite the same power that was at work when Jesus was raised from the grave to be present here with us now. And we declare that you are welcome here amongst us as we give honor and homage to our veterans from the Vietnam era. And we give you all the glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Larry.
I'd ask you to please still stand and uncover. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Recover.
Sure had a nice sound to it.
Did.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell.
Here.
Curran.
Here.
Freeling. Present. Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman.
Here.
Majerick.
Here.
Ott. Here. Pittsford.
Present.
Ballrath.
Here.
Werfel. Here. Yarborough. Present. Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have 12 present.
Thank you. The minutes from last week need to be approved,
I will make
moved
that
by
motion.
Freeling, supported by Ott. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, I understand we have at least one communication? Okay,
Communication. An email from the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners supporting Senate Bill 662 of 2024, received on March 22nd, 2024.
all right, thank you. We'll now go to public comments regarding resolutions. That would include everything on the consent calendar and then the added resolution concerning Vietnam veterans recognition. General public comments would come later in the meeting. Right now, it's just about agenda resolutions. If you have anything you'd like to say, name and town, up to 2 minutes if you wish to opine.
All right, my name is Rick Brian, Niles Township. I didn't know that resolution was just added to support the Vietnam veterans, but I'm 100% in support of that. And through my lifetime, I've known a lot of Vietnam veterans. I know that they suffered probably more than most vets getting up until a Desert Storm. So anything you guys can do to help them and recognize them and honor them, I'm 100% behind it. So thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Chuck Hyde, Marion County Sheriff. Just want to take this opportunity, one, to see the great turnout, but on behalf of the Sheriff's Office and the men and women there, to thank the veterans that are here, especially the Vietnam area that's being recognized today. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. The consent calendar, no one's mentioned anything about pulling a resolution. Commissioner Harrison mentioned that we should pull the B 2404050, which is the Vietnam Veterans Resolution. And I'm sure we're all in favor of that. So it's pulled. And it will be read aloud, read into the record. But first things first, let's deal with the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as submitted other than the resolution we just pulled?
So made.
Moved by Pitchford, supported by Freeling. Any discussion about the consent calendar resolutions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call a roll?
Curran,
Yes.
Freeling. Yes. Harrison,
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Pittsford.
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Whirlpool. Yes. Yarborough,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
and Elliott.
Yes,
12 yeas.
thank you. Okay, now, the added resolution, ending in 050. Is there a motion?
So move.
Moved by Hinkleman, supported by Werfel. Discussion. I believe the process would involve reading it first and then voting on it second. Since it's right here, let me see what I can do. I'm trying to keep my left eye open. I had to go to the dentist this morning and the left side's numb and my left eye keeps wanting to close, so bear with me, and if I drool a little, you'll know that's just something I do. Yeah, that's right, just normal. Anyway, Berrien County Board of Commissioners, Resolution B 2403050, honoring Berrien County veterans that served in the Vietnam War, dated today, March 28, 2024. Whereas May 28, 2012 marked the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, and whereas between 1964 and 1975, more than 3 million Americans left their homes and families and served overseas in a series of battles and conflicts of the Vietnam War. And whereas of Michigan's sons and daughters who served in the military during the Vietnam War, 2,657 were killed in action, 36 were held as prisoners of war, and a number still remain unaccounted for. And whereas the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs estimates that 247,859 of the nation's Vietnam veterans reside in Michigan. And whereas in 2012, then Governor Rick Snyder proclaimed May 28, 2012 through November 11, 2025 as the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. And whereas the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017 was signed into law by then President Donald J. Trump, designating every March 29 as National Vietnam War Veterans Day. And whereas there are approximately 2,615 veterans of the Vietnam War living in Berrien County, and whereas the Whirlpool Veterans and Allies Group wishes to publicly thank and honor Vietnam veterans and their families on behalf of our nation by presenting the Vietnam Veteran Lapel Pin to all Berrien County Vietnam veterans at today's meeting. And whereas it is the desire of the Berrien County Board of Commissioners to join with the Whirlpool Veterans and Allies Group in honoring the Berrien County Vietnam veterans. Now, therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Berrien County Board of Commissioners joins with the nation in thanking and honoring our Berrien County Vietnam veterans and their families for their courage, bravery, and sacrifice as we commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. Be it further resolved that their lives, actions, and contributions reflect most favorably upon themselves, their families, their communities, Berrien County, the state of Michigan, and the United States of America. Respectfully submitted, Berrien County Board of Commissioners. It has already been moved and supported. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Freeling. Yes. Harrison,
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Pittsford.
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Whirlpool. Yes. Yarborough,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Curran,
Yes.
and Elliott.
Yes,
12 yeas.
resolution approved. Maureen, are you going to be presenting the pins?
Actually, we have a couple of items. I wanted to introduce Paul Daly of the Whirlpool Association.
Okay,
He's with the Veteran and Allies Group. We have always enjoyed a very good relationship with our Whirlpool veterans. They support a lot of our initiatives. And so when they met with us, they came out and said, what can we do for our Vietnam veterans? We said, how can we help you today? So you want to come and tell us how this came about, Paul?
Yeah, thanks everybody for having me here, for the Board of Commissioners for supporting this, and thank you to our Vietnam veterans. The Whirlpool Vets and Allies Employee Resource Group was formed more than a decade ago, but just in the past year or two, we have started to reorganize, and one of the pillars of our group is to get involved in our community, supporting veterans in our communities, and so this was a way that we thought we could do that. Just really bubbled up from our membership. It's not anything that came down, being mandated to us to do this. This is something that both the veterans and the allies that are part of our group wanted to make sure that we did this. So as I was thinking about what to say here this morning, I was reminded of Sir Isaac Newton said, if I've seen farther than others, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And so I just wanted to say thank you personally and as a representative, and my colleague here, Steve Gagne from the Whirlpool Vets and Allies. Thank you all for your service. It was not a great period in our country, and there was a lot of things that were said and done that I think if we could all go back, we would do them differently. But we owe a huge debt of gratitude to each and every one of you, and just want to say thank you.
Thank you. And Eric Larson, our Veteran Service Officer, is going to read off the symbolism of the Vietnam pin that we're going to present today.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here amongst you, gentlemen. The symbolism for the Vietnam Veteran lapel pin, the eagle. The eagle represents courage, honor, and dedicated service to our nation. As one of the most recognizable and notable American symbols, it is emblazoned on numerous military insignia. Blue circle. The color blue matches the canton of the American flag and signifies vigilance, perseverance, and justice. The circle shape and blue color also match the official seal of the commemoration. Laurel wreath, a time-honored symbol representing victory, integrity, and strength. Stripes. The stripes behind the eagle represent the American flag. The stars, the 6 stars represent the 6 allies who served, sacrificed, and fought alongside one another. Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, the Republic of Korea, Thailand, and the United States. The message, a grateful nation thanks and honors you, is embossed on the back, closest to the heart of the wearer. The official name of the commemoration is included to remind each veteran that this is a national initiative.
Just a little bit, please. And now we're going to have Larry Money and Holly Taylor of the Buchanan American Legion Post present a pin to each of the veterans that are here today. We will read their name, their date of service, and their branch of service. Here's your box. And Paul.
All right, well, thank you. As Maureen said, my name is Larry Money. This is Holly Taylor. We're from the Buchanan American Legion Post. I'm also past department commander for the Department of Michigan and also National Executive Committee for the national organization, which doesn't mean a whole lot. But when I can stand in a room full of my brothers and sisters, that means a lot. So welcome everyone here. Holly and I are going to try to do the best we can to expedite this program. But once again, I want to say thank you to everyone that showed up here today and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Tom Pitts, Army. 1972 to 74 active, 82 to 87 National Guard. Jerry Levanway, 1973 to 1976 Air Force. In 1970, 70 to what?
69 to 70.
Okay. Dennis Sexton, US Army, 69 to 70. Dave Spurlock, 1970 to 1978, US Marine Corps.
He's from Buchanan too, and we don't hold that against him.
Jim Pfeiffer, Navy, January of 65 to January of 69. Okay. Paul Kakmar, 1967 to 74, US Navy. Okay, we're gonna start in this line next. Linda Colson, spouse of Johnny Colson, US Navy, 67 to 69. William Gall, Army, 65 to 67.
Take me a little while.
We'll wait for you. John Stone, Army, 64 to 66. Lee Sherwitz, Air Force, 65 to 91. David Allen, US Marines, 74 to 79. Thank you. Donald France, US Army, 68 to 69. Oh, good helping you, Larry. John Kessler. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll put my glasses on. I apologize. Jack Kessler, United States Air Force, 62 to 66.
Come on, I'll wait for you. I got sometimes.
Danny Vance, United States Marine Corps, 74 to 80, 89 to 92.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me, guys. Really.
John Molter, Army, 66 to 67.
Thanks, sir.
Tim Johnson, Navy, 69 to 73. Denny Swanson, Army, 67 to 70.
Board.
Thank you.
Marty Goldrick, thank you. Marty Goldrick, Marine Corps, 1969.
Thanks, sir. We can still get our arms behind us, though.
Thank you. William Whitefield, Whitfield, I beg your pardon, U.S. Air Force, 63 to 67.
You got a fan back here.
Vern Evans, 65 to 69, Army.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You gonna stay? Okay. If you could, gentlemen, could bring it over here. Chuck Harrison, United States Marine Corps, 65 to 67. Joe Thomas, Army, 71 to 73.
Over here, Joe.
Mark Cornwall, Air Force, 71 to 73.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Harry Hull, United States Marine Corps, 68 to 72.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
John Gaddy, U.S. Army, 70 to 79.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Lauderman, United States Army, 68 to 97.
Thank you, sir.
Michael Herdinger, did I get that? 1963 to 65.
Better than what they usually call you, right? Welcome over. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jim Smith, Army, 1969 to 71.
Thank you, sir.
Al Wolf, Army. So, sorry, 1970 to 95.
Good, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
Charles Simmons, Army, 60 to 63. William Hyde, Air Force, 66 to 70. Tom Westgate, 64 to 68, Navy. Roger Shermer, Army, 67 to 69.
Airborne.
All the way. We've been there, done that.
Thank you, sir.
Over here, Roger.
Patrick Duncan. Oh, Army, 66 to 69.
Thank you for your service, sir.
73rd.
Gregory Burton, Air Force, 68 to 72.
Sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother.
John Chadwick, Army, 67 to 70.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Jim Fisher, Air Force, 60 to 63.
Tell that to my talk. I would just like. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Ed Serafino, Marine Corps, 66 to 68.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Roy Hyda, Marine Corps, 66 to 68.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Richard DeLucini, 68 to 72. Get everybody?
Let's roll, brother. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Great career. You must have counted these out, right, Maureen?
Lucky, lucky. We welcome you home, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So,
Just so now,
I Matt's got something here for a second. I think. Maureen?
Where's Maureen?
Your little quiet. Stand on a chair. Maureen?
Next week.
Oh, shit, Chip. Yeah, Jim, how you doing? What direction? Thank you, boys.
That was very authentic. That was authentic reaction.
Thank you, Gary. Good to see you.
Give a hand for Maureen.
Gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? I just wanted to say one thing. We got a person that was very influential in a lot of our disabilities, getting them and everything. A big thanks goes to Lee Lowell.
Yes.
Over the years and you also for helping us.
Happy to help. That's what we're here for.
Well, and Larry, you might remember Jerry Kristolinski as well. Jerry,
I was at school.
and he was a Marine, and he didn't come home. He was in the class of 1969 with one of my brothers, and up on the wall back there, just before you go out the door, is a list of names of Berrien County veterans who died in Vietnam, and Gerald Prisbalinski's name is there. And I just wanted to mention him today because I remember Jerry when I was a little kid, trotting along behind Jerry and my brother Gary and generally bugging them. And he was a good guy and just one of many who left us way too soon. So thank you all very much for coming. You're welcome to stay, but we understand if you have other things to do.
Thank you.
We have riveting things on the agenda.
We have what?
Riveting things on the agenda.
We do?
Yeah,
that must be, I got the wrong one.
You got a committee report.
I go first.
So no one took your dare to vote.
Pardon?
No one took your dare to vote.
I know, good to see you. Good to see you. I hide it well.
Maybe it's different.
Marty,
good to see you, buddy.
All right. How you doing? Good to see you.
You'd have to sing back, don't you?
Thank you. You too.
I hear you. Take care.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Well, I was asking about Adolf. I didn't see him, but now I see him in the back. There he is. Okay. All right. Well, let's get back to the agenda and get through the meeting. That was a wonderful way to start the day. And last week we had Miss Michigan. This week we have the Vietnam vet. It's all good. I think we're at the point of doing committee reports, and the Personnel Committee is first on the list. I don't know what you want to draw from that, but it is first on the list today. So
We are always first on the list. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met this morning. We had no resolutions to review. We reviewed and approved 2 advanced step higher promotional requests, one from the Family Division of the Trial Court and the other from the Parks and Recreation Department. So those both were approved. We had Jill Adams in with Derek Peltz to talk about one of the upcoming events down at Love Creek. This is the Biketoberfest. And so there's some recommendations that we made back to Jill regarding the charging for services down at Love Creek, and that will come to you at a later date. We also had Shelley put together some job posting and application report for us to consider. It was very informative about various vacancies and positions in all the departments. And so that pretty much summed up our meeting, I believe. So that would conclude my report.
questions for PHS? All right, then admin.
Thank you, Matt. First in to see us this morning was Lisa Jardine from Friend of the Court. She talked to us about the remodel. We approved their remodeling so that they could take their staff that's over at the DHHS building and get them into the courthouse with them. The remodel is complete, and because DHHS closed their building, she had to take their 4 staff members sooner than she anticipated, but the move went just fine. She talked about the remodel being complete. It also includes electronic filing, which she says has been very beneficial for them. Ferry Street Resource Center in Niles has reached out to the Friend of the Court and looking to create a partnership. So she's in conversations with those folks now. And she said she has an open position, and this is for an attorney/referee position. It's kind of like a judge, like a junior judge, from all the duties that she says this referee does. So it's on the webpage, it's on our webpage. So if you know of anyone who has, the credentials to be an attorney referee, they need one. Next in to see us was Elvin Gonzalez and Gregory Skipper from the Juvenile Center. And I gave everyone a handout. Elvin had enough for everyone. This is pretty much the report card. It kind of gives you all the stats, juvenile diversion stats. And I placed extras up there on the table, so if anyone would like them. And let's see. Alvin made note of a couple of statistics that he thought bared notation. One is youth with firearm related offenses is up. And he said, for some reason, firearms and stolen vehicles, apparently these juveniles are stealing vehicles. They've got weapons. And he said they're weapons. They're not BB guns, paint guns, those type of things. They are firearms. So they've seen quite a rise in that. Elvin has been assigned to sit on some task force at the state level, one of which he said is detention admissions. He sits on that for the state, and that is to standardize admission procedures for, he said there are 24 juvenile detention centers throughout the state, is to standardize that. He also introduced to us Edith Zars, who is the Clinical and Treatment Services Manager. She was previously at Riverwood, and she has now joined the staff at the Juvenile Center. After Elvin and Skipper was Mark Heiliger from our road department. And this has to do with the section of Red Arrow Highway Now, I know everyone has seen the concept drawings. And as they do these segments, they're bringing them to admin, basically to follow the policy that we just passed. So what Mark presented to us this morning is the concept drawing that was tentatively approved back in 2019. In 2019, we approved that whole stretch. Well, this is the stretch from the Bridgman city limits to Livingston Road, which is 1.3 miles. And then that's scheduled for 2025. So that's why it's coming to us now. It will get approved. It'll come to the full board for your blessing so they can move forward. And then in 2026, the same stretch of Red River Highway will go from Livingston Road to Stevensville city limits. So, and this is all on the website. It's all on the webpage. You know, I encourage the commissioners to look at this, make sure that you guys are okay with this, because if you're not, we need to know that. And that's why I keep bringing all this back to the board, even though we approved it in 2019, there's still commissioners sitting here who weren't here in 2019. So I want to make sure that all the commissioners are aware of what the road department's doing and that you sign off on it. Last in the CS, well, last but certainly not least, was Brian. And let's see, what did you talk to us about? I don't remember now. Oh, I don't. Am I supposed to announce this? Or I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, I was gonna say, I participated in a spirited discussion about the proper number of lanes. So,
yes, you did.
yes.
And then the $3 million from Senator Peters' office. You know, we purchased the old AEP building in Buchanan. It's called 500 Circle Drive. And that's where our Emergency Operations Center and our 911 center is going to go, along with IT and some other support departments. Senator Peters has secured $3 million for us to help with the remodel and the updating of that building. It's not all that we need, but it certainly will help. So,
and
that's good news.
Yeah, I'll just echo that we received support from Congressman Huizenga, Congressman Wahlberg, and just extremely thankful to those gentlemen and the teams that they have in place. And it's months of work, and it's great to see that the federal budget has been approved and that those dollars will be flowing into Berrien County.
Yep, great. Good news. Okay, and we have one resolution for you, 4177, and this is to amend the award from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for the Berrien County Trial Family Court. It amends it by an additional $9,000, and this is for the fiscal year 23-24 for the grant. And that is our report.
Questions for admin? All right then, Madam Chair of Finance.
Thank you very much. Our administrator, Brian Doucette, came and talked with us, and it was about the $3 million, a number of things. And then corporate counsel, that is Hackworth, talked with us. It was a discussion on drains. And this discussion was about Tanner Creek, which is in Bridgman, Michigan. And we had a visitor that we invited to come to the table with us. His name is Brad Mattner. He's building zoning official in Bridgman because they're very concerned about the Tanner Creek and the things that are going on. So we had the majority of our meeting was a discussion. Our drain commissioner, Christopher Quatrain, was invited at least twice by our administrator, and our administrator has not heard from him yet, and he was not at this meeting. And so we had a long discussion, and it was real valuable for Brad Mattner of Bridgman to be there because he could say the condition was good, you know, of what was done and all of that. And so we had a long discussion about it. And we don't quite know what we're going to do, and you all may have something you want to say when we finish with this. And then we did resolutions. We accepted the minutes. The resolutions for us was spending money for the road department and for our regular bills. We voted on those and did them. And then we had a number of residents in our meeting, and they, those that chose to spoke to us. And one of the things that we received, and hopefully they were given out to you all, it's the numbers from our Director of Finance, Doug James, letting us know how much money has been spent on this Tanner drain. And the amount that we saw was so high, but come to find out, all it was attorney fees, no shovel, no digging, nothing done. So there's a great discussion, and it's a very important, one of the very important drain things that we're working on. Any other things you all want to add?
I think you have the documents that you're referencing. I don't think we handed those out to them. There's a stack of them.
Commissioners, I'll send it to them right now.
Okay. We had some extra copies.
That's
I did.
It's okay. We want to pass out to the other members, and I'll find them. They're here.
I think that I would, if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
The discussion as it related around Tanner Creek, and one of the reasons why we keep asking questions regarding that is for Tanner Creek, just with one vendor, it's almost $600,000 in legal costs. And then last week we had another $400,000 in engineering costs for 3 other drains in Bridgman. So that's a total of 4 drains in the city of Bridgman. Other municipalities are also impacted by this, but you're looking at $1 million in soft costs with not a shovel in the ground. And it caused pause, and we invited the drain commissioner to come to speak on it and help us to understand it better. And he didn't attend.
He had no contact with us, with the administrator or any of the rest of us.
Correct.
If I might add just to Madam Chair, there are a couple of things that we have as a board that we have in place, some resolutions, and one of them, and I'll check with Brian to find out how we got out of parameter with this particular thing, but it's on the revolving fund that we have for them. We've got by resolution, $1 million value that was bumped up to $1 million in the revolving fund via a temporary resolution to a problem. We're now 825,000 out of compliance with it. And so, we need to make sure that we stay within the brackets of our own resolution. The other one, more, just for a little bit of history, years ago, when, as a drain commissioner, before Christopher's time, there was a resolution made that $4 million, we would set a bracket of $4 million on full faith and credit that we would offer to projects out there. And what we wanted to do was get those projects completed, get one done, get another one started, get one done, bring closure to those projects. We later raised that to $5 million. We have the resolution numbers, and we don't, as a board, there's more of a guideline. Historically, we can't ask that the drain commissioner adhere to that, but the thought was to try to get drain projects completed and then to get them on the tax roll so that we can move on. That was and at this point in time, there's a little over 15 million out there, 10 million of which, 10 million and some change of which we're over that bracket. That's not our parameter. That's not for us to decide. All right. That's not for us to decide. We did it to try to help and to work with the drain office to try to complete those projects and get those things on the roll so that they can be taken care of. But those two things we'll need to look into, especially the revolving fund, because the Board of Commissioners is out of parameters on that resolution. So
I would like to ask you, Commissioner Hinkleman, before we move on, that you explain to us how the drain commissioner can, the forefathers, about the 3 things that they can do. Just explain that, what kind of hold that we have over him.
in very simplistic terms, I want you to know how the drain commissioner's office works. It seems czarish, okay, like the last of the czars, and it seems that way. The forefathers set it up that way on purpose. The reason they set it up that way is they knew that as drain projects came up, and there are a number of people along those projects, they knew, and I'm going to be very simplistic about this, somebody on the drain would want to hunt ducks. They would want water. Another guy would want to paddle his canoe. Another guy would want to grow tomatoes. Another guy would want to have a house without a wet basement. And so rather than leave that to a committee, they left it to, the forefathers left that to one individual. And that's why the drain commissioner's office is a commission of one person, not a board. So that's why that was done that way. And that's why a lot of these things that are in place, this committee, i.e. the $10 million full faith and credit chasm that we have right now is there. It's because he's a commission of one. And so where we can help is the revolving fund. We need to stay within our parameters. We need to stay within that so that as and when we're audited, the auditors know that we're in compliance with our own resolutions, with our own parameters, so that we can maintain the county's full faith and credit for all projects, for all citizens. So that's where what we need to focus on and what we can focus on at this point in time.
Thank you. Any other discussion from and that's our report.
Any questions for finance?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Number one, I wanted to point out to Commissioner Freeland, the questions that you asked, and were very astute and really helpful in trying to understand all this, because it can be confusing trying to understand how drains interact with loans and bonds. Only question I have on the drain commission component unit kind of recap here is this last column from the beginning of January 2024 until today, or until 2/29. So does it mean that in these kind of items at the bottom that just in February 29th of 2024, we're already meeting numbers from a full year in the past? Is that how I'm supposed to interpret this?
Or is it just from January?
So if I look at the line that says county full faith and credit debt, 15,765,000, that number is exactly the same as what it was for the full year of 2023. Is that correct?
That is the typical way that Doug reports this to us, whatever the status is of those accounts, whether it's borrowed or the ebbs and flows, that is what we have the account standing at for right now.
And that would just reflect a couple of months.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm reading it correctly. In a couple of months, we've hit what would have been a year's worth of balance before. That is not correct.
No.
It carried over.
It's continuing over. Okay, thank you.
Carried over.
Thank you.
I would think.
As something is finally bonded out, it'll be taken off of this roll as it's bonded out and given to the community, then that would come down. And that's why if you see over on the far left, it explains that we had a $4 million initial resolution and then a $5 million initial resolution in the print.
That's in the non-full faith and credit. The full faith and credit is the bonded.
Right.
And then what's so important is that this 156, I'm sorry, where am I? I lost it. Oh, the 15,765,000 is spread over the residents that live on that drain. When you look up at the individuals, where it says closed drain, Schwartz, Hollywood Road, for example, who lives on that drain, it's put on their taxes divided by 20 or 100, however many people live there, or 2, whatever the amount, it's passed on to the resident. Is that how it goes?
Some of it is, yeah.
Okay.
Some of the governmental units.
But it's not equal.
John, your microphone.
It's equitable but not equal. So when the drain commissioner and his office is the one who decides how to break up that money. And so if somebody has more property or it's more important to that property that that drain exists and is helped, they'll be charged more. So it's not on a per citizen basis or per property basis. It's done on a the drain commissioner, as the commissioner, like I said, of one, is the person who decides how that money is broken up.
And really quickly, when a drain is assessed and that cost is spread out, is it then put on the tax rolls for the next year for those individuals?
It's a number of years, might be 10.
So they spread it out over time?
5.
It can be spread. It can also be done in 1 year.
May I? Sorry to
Yes.
belabor it longer, but just for, there's two ways that drain commissioner can make a special assessment. One is a maintenance project, which allows them to do work in a given year up to $5,000 per mile to do that work. And then the other one is a petition project. Most petition projects are bonded out. Those are where a lot of our full faith and credit comes into play. And then a drain commissioner can actually do 3 years worth of assessment charging in preparation for maintenance work, but the first 2 years is only $2,000. So in a total, 10,000 could be collected per mile in 3 years' time, but the work has to commence within that 3-year window.
Thank you. Really appreciate the education, Judge. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Well,
Yes, sir.
Okay, I understand, the commissioner is a party of one. And, however, it looks like Eagle is above him. So we are in a lawsuit with them. I don't know who's right or who's wrong. I don't even know what they're fighting him about. And is there, maybe if drain commissioner is correct, should we jump in on the fight with him or what? I don't know what the whole issue is. We're spending a lot of money, or he's spending a lot of taxpayers' money for this fight. Is it a valid fight?
I would, what I would do is I would direct that question to Thaddeus. A valid fight, who would I be to say, but I would have to direct that question to Thaddeus. Today, Thaddeus gave us a great short historical backlog into just exactly what's happened in this, you know, how this came about. And so we were briefed on it, but that would be a question that I'd have to direct to Thaddeus and so my idea is, no, this isn't our fight. This isn't our fight. This is.
Yeah, so I think there is a legitimate legal dispute that's being litigated by the drain commissioner. I don't think that the county itself really has standing to get involved, to intervene in the case. So there's not really a way for us to participate. But I do think there are legal questions that it's reasonable to want answers to.
Anyone else? Go to commissioner reports clockwise.
No report other than I just want to thank all the vets for coming in today. That was a wonderful tribute. So.
So Monday, I think you guys have heard, we were successful in working with the city of St. Joe to approve the next steps in going for approving the playground equipment at Silver Beach. And then I also attended our MAC Judiciary Board meeting. We got some legislative updates. We also talked about some of the platforms that MAC supports. We touched on the solar siting ballot proposal or ballot initiative. We also touched a little bit on the ATS Michigan tax initiative, where we're not seeing, you know, any legitimate picking up of that actually reaching the ballot. And we also talked about how hard, you know, that would even be able to be implemented. Let's see what else. I also attended the announcement from the Department of Energy, Secretary Granholm, along with Joey Andrews and our governor. Commissioner Pitchford was there as well. That was in covert, the announcement of the recommissioning of the Palisades nuclear plant. Yeah, I think that's it. That is my report.
That was good.
Good luck.
Yeah, you were busy. No report.
I, along with Representative Andrews, went to the Benton Harbor area schools this week at their work session to get their full support for the data center legislation that's pushing through Lansing. It got a little held up in the Senate. It was attached to some other economic development bills, and I think there was some internal conversations about those bills, so it all got pulled, and they are now on spring break. We expect them to vote on it when they come back, and they wanted to see full community support all the way down to the school board, which would also be impacted by this, and it was a unanimous vote to support it. So I think that's going to be a big boost for the area. $21 million for the Benton Harbor area schools, $12 million or $16 million estimated for Benton Township, about $4 million for the county if it comes in at around $3 billion in investment. So I think this is going to be a huge thing. We all know with these data centers and with my work on the AI committee, Google, Microsoft, they're all looking for spots and looking for communities that are incentivizing these data centers. And where one comes, you're going to have an entire ecosystem that comes around it that want to be near those data centers, because everything lives on the cloud today. You've seen communities like Austin, Texas, completely change when they started to invest in technology. And I think Southwest Michigan, specifically Benton Township, could be the hub for technology moving into the future. I attended the Farm Bureau legislative update. Was a extremely interesting conversation about the legislation and the court cases that are out there that are affecting farmers. I got a chance to become a member. I got a chance to talk to some of the individuals that live in my district. I have a few farms to go and tour now that I'm really excited to go see. I was told I need to wear different shoes when I go out there. And I had a really good conversation. I want to talk to some of the commissioners here about to get a better understanding of crop estimation is a really big problem right now. And I reached out to the National Association of Counties to talk about if we could use some of the AI platforms and technologies that we have to use drone surveying to see if you could pull crop estimations through some of those algorithms that have been created. I don't know if it's feasible, but it was something that me and this individual had a good conversation about to see if it could be possible. I also attended the Holtec Palisades relaunch kind of ceremony where the federal government announced a $1.52 billion loan to Palisades. I got a chance to meet former governor and Secretary Granholm, Governor Whitmer. It was a great chance to see them again. It's been a while since I've seen the governor, and I plugged in even the data centers again to let her know that it was something that I really supported and wanted her to make sure that she signs. And then finally, touching on the veterans that were here, absolutely just touched my heart. My uncle that me and my sisters moved in with after our house burned down in Benton Harbor, he served in the Vietnam War. And he was more impactful in my life than just about anyone. And it was hard not to tear up because I wished he could have been here to see this. But, you know, I had never known the men that he served with. He talked about all of his comrades and his buddies and the people that he served with and how he missed them. And it was nice to just see a piece of that today. So thank you, Maureen, for doing this. And thank you to all of us for voting for that resolution.
I attended the 911 quality assurance. That's where we take various random calls at the 911 center and critique them, see how we could do things better. I also attended the Berrien County Historical Association board meeting. All the commissioners should have received their annual report, which talks about their finances and also the programs that they're going to do in 2024. They approved and signed the promissory note that we've talked about for quite a while. God, what was it, 15 years ago, I think, or so, 12 or 15 years ago, we loaned them $100,000, and this is part of that repayment. So their board signed off on it, and they're looking for members, and they're also looking for board members. So if you're interested, anyone who would like to be on their board or just be a member of the Historical Association, they do have a website. Feel free to go on the website, contact their executive director. Also, I want to thank Maureen and the Veterans Office for what they did this morning. I had friends and classmates who served in Vietnam and some of them didn't come home. So this was really close to my heart this morning. And I think it was a great tribute that she did to give those folks PIDs. And that's all I have.
I also attended the 911 QA meeting yesterday, and also Monday I had to skip our MAC judicial and public safety meeting because I had a funeral for a very dear friend who passed away, and so it was a tough enough week. But if you see the platforms, they're looking for, you know, your thoughts and your ideas on the platforms for this year. We'll be approving them in the legislative conference coming up soon. So if you got some time, look over the emails, look over the platforms, and if you see something, you know, we need to stick in there, just let us know, let somebody know. And that's my report.
I attended Farm Bureau legislative meeting Monday morning, which, as Commissioner Pitchford said, it was very good, interesting information on those bills that have gone through the legislature and now in the Supreme Court. Also had Monday the MAC HHS committee. We had a great presentation from Community Mental Health Association. And then in our legislative update, we also talked about the jail healthcare that is in the budget 90 days before release is in the budget, as well as the waiver application to the federal government. Now, does that make it through all the way through the budget appropriations for 24, 25? Is yet to be determined, but it is in the initial budget. So that was some good news, and you've probably heard that from the Sheriff's Association. And then I too attended the 911 quality assurance yesterday. Great. It was a fire call that we reviewed, and a lot of good lessons learned and takeaways from it. That's my report.
No report. I do want to mention that I met with Christopher last week for an hour plus, and he gave me specifically a rundown of how this Tanner Creek thing started to where it's at, and I have begged him. I talked with Brian. I sent Mac email. He did promise to give us a update on what's going on, so we will keep our fingers crossed and hope that he does that.
Yeah, just went to the Nats meeting, and my most concern was 11th Street and 933. It is coming along on schedule, and it's going to be a long summer. So if you're heading that way, try to divert around it. That's my report.
Oh, it's working. Yeah. My only thing that I wanted to report on was I too attended the Farm Bureau legislative breakfast, in that there was some discussion about some changes for the MEAP program, which is a quality assurance program that farmers can voluntarily sign up for. Right now, the way that it is proposed, there would be a change in the way those MEAP technicians are structured, and they would no longer be housed with the conservation districts, but would become state employees. They would be reduced from 40 technicians to 24 technicians, and they would work for the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. And so there is a short survey that they were suggesting to anybody impacted by this program who has agriculture, open lands, or farm actively in this program to fill out the survey. I had forwarded it on to Brian. I believe he's gonna put that in his administrator update or send it on to all of us. And if any of your municipalities or constituents that you work with would be interested in filling that survey out, they're trying to gather information to show how beneficial this program is, because right now it's a voluntary third-party confidential program, and by putting this under as state employees, it changes that way that it's structured. That's my report.
I have to ask a question. Does it change it from voluntary?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I don't know that they are either, but I think that there's concern. There is statutorily, the law is structured that this was supposed to be 100% confidential and voluntary. I don't know if that would change that structure at this point in time. That's my report.
Thank you. I was real pleased this morning. I saw on the news where former Governor Granholm and current Governor Gretchen Whitmer were reopening the nuclear plant Palisades. And it has never been done before. And so for two women, I don't care how that sounds, to come together. And I know when Granholm was working on it, she knew it. This is her area and all. So it's going to happen. And they're calling people back and they believe that they can do it, because it's like how when they shut down periodically anyway, and they have a lot of people that are coming back to COVID area and getting their jobs back for that had retired or moved on. And then I want to let you know that on Saturday, April 6th, Richard Hunt his work and his life is being honored in the Arts District and Benton Harbor. It's from 4:30 to 7 p.m. and it's in the building that he donated back to the donated to the Krasl Arts Center to be used and made viable to attract artists and all, and sculptors and programs, so that it can continue to be and higher and more than it was. And that's at the corner of Territorial and 4th Street in Benton Harbor. That's mine. Thank you.
And just said he does not have a report, so we'll go to general public comments. Yes, sir. Name and town.
Right here. Good morning. I know most of you people here, and just a couple items. First of all, I think it's important to know, and unfortunately, all these people left, but I think the county board does an excellent job. You guys do. It's a tough job, and you handle it well. Brian he's been incredible to work with, and the committee with Terry and I think it was Jim and a few others on the broadband. You do a good job. The citizens are well served by what you guys do. I want to get that across. Also, the elected public officials, Laura in Register, and Shelley over as treasurer, and our clerk, Sharon. They respond back. They're good public servants, and I think the community and the people need to know that. Now, we've had a few disagreements with the county over the years, but we deal with it. We hold no grudges. We move on, and that's what the people deserve. I'm not saying that we're right all the time, although occasionally we're right, but we move on. Okay. However, we have a major problem, and you all know this, with our drain commissioner. He's just not responsive. For the past year and a half, he'll send us a bill. Okay. Drains at large, and just out of nowhere, I say, well, can you tell us what it's for? Well, it took me 10 months to just get an explanation on one drain. Had to use a FOIA request, Freedom of Information. Then we get the drains at large, about 6 drains. And again, asked for what it's for. Had to do 3 FOIA requests, Freedom of Information requests, to get information. And that's absurd. That's criminal, okay, for a public official. And unfortunately, your corporate counsel is involved, and he's got a whole bunch of more important things to do than to deal with a Freedom of Information request. We finally get something, and it's just general. So out of the drains at large, probably 90% is engineering and legal. Okay, and I want to why? Very few shovels.
Time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll wrap it up. So anyway, it's a serious problem. I know you guys are limited, but I appreciate everything you do. And one final thing for the record, can we get something in the permanent record, please? Today is Field Marshal Kolovis's birthday. So I would like that shown in the record, if you would, please. And sorry for going over. So there you go.
Okay, anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Rick Briat, Niles Township, Marion County Sheriff's candidate. Last week, I told you guys I want to do the Office of Constitutional Policing. This week, I want to tell you that I want to start doing 24-hour courts. It's not fair to the officers to have to work 24-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, 24/7, and have the court be open 9 to 5. So as a result of that imbalance, we have an overloaded jail where there's more people in there waiting for trial than are actually have been found guilty, and we have overloaded holding cells. So if we could bring a person that's arrested before a magistrate, give them a show cause hearing, give them a bond at that time, we don't have to hold them in the jail waiting to find out if they're guilty or not. It solves a bunch of problems and it reduces the liability for lawsuits in the end. Now, back to my Office of Constitutional Policing, that doesn't hurt anybody. That only helps everybody. So I would like to invite our interim sheriff to also adopt that policy because that only makes things better for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Ryan Candler, I'm from Niles, Michigan, Milton Township. I want to talk about the bullying incident in Niles, the bomb threats. I'm here for students. I'm here for my children. I'm here to let you know Facebook's going nuts. And I work nights. I literally have to leave here in an hour to get the Elkhart to go to my nighttime job. So today's where I get to make my statement. I wanted to do it at the Niles Community Schools, but it never fits the schedule. They did have a woman, or my friend from Niles, she went and attended. The result was everybody was phenomenal. Okay, well, for phenomenal, we're on our third bomb threat as of yesterday. This school's threatened, but not this one. Why are you pulling your kids out of this school today? It's an unexcused absence. And there's other parents there. It's like, there's chaos. There's no order. There's no stability. So I guess what I'm getting at, there's a lot of problems here. We need to know who did it and that it's not going to happen again with these bomb threats. The bullying thing, 2 years ago, I came here and the guy, Freeling, or health department guy, got a bunch of money, ran, and I believe you're a part of the mental health on that with the kids, the Riverdale, and, you know, the schools. Mental health has went over the budget. Now with schools get the second amount of most of our money. We bring 40 billion in, 80 billion goes out in what we're paying. Does that make sense? Like, we're going in debt. And you guys have a toxin problem I can't find any of the bills on in the reference for today's materials. And nobody's talking about what the problem with the creeks are. So you guys got a lot to handle. Just know that the community is outraged in Niles over all the student management right now. So try to ask other people, if you don't have the answers, who are making successes in this, especially in law enforcement. I know you guys are tapping that out right now. Thank you kindly for your time. 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Michael Hoy, City of Benton Harbor. As a little bit of a historian, over where the old courthouse sat, there's a little plaque here that's no longer there. That gives the descriptions and things of that nature. There's a little metal stand for it, but whatever has been there is no longer there. So I don't know if we get together with the Historical Society and have that replaced again, but you know, to replace whatever's been taken away. But again, there's of course the bell and the time capsule and that piece there, but there's always been a plaque that described exactly the courthouse. So if we could possibly get somebody to get on that, be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? St. Joe, the parking lot, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. I almost forgot to announce, it is my pleasure to inform you that the Lady Cats Brandywine basketball team is the D3 runner-up state champion. We are very proud of them in that program. And it was a hard-fought battle and a defensive battle. The final score was 33-30. So they only lost by 3 points. Tough defensive battle. And the other nice thing about that is 2 out of the 5 starters are seniors. The rest are still going to be back next year. Plus the JV went undefeated. So hopefully I'll be sitting here at this time next year saying we got a state championship. But I almost forgot to announce that.
Thank you. Any other announcements? And you know, a lot of the Brandywine School District is on well water. Talked about well water last week. I really think that makes a difference. I have an announcement. I am gonna run again. And look forward to working with all of you. Come January, hopefully we'll all be sitting here. But I'm gonna do it. So we are closed for Good Friday, which is tomorrow. And then we'll be back here next Thursday at 8:35, and I'll try not to crack a tooth between now and then. Yes, sir.
May I wish you all a happy and blessed Easter.
You too. Thank you. We're adjourned.
I won't be.